make you feel knowing that your purchase contributed to the abuse of young, malnourished children who worked in sweatshops to make the shoes on your feet? Nike has been accused of using child labor in the production of tennis shoes in Pakistan. While Pakistan has laws against child labor and slavery, the government has taken very little action to combat it. We need to recognize this exploitation. Child labor still goes on in the world around us. Globally, 218 million children are child laborers. 73 million of these children are less than 10 years old. Every year, 22,000 children die in work-related accidents. Believe it or not, numerous major companies, such as Nike, Apple, and Gap, all contribute to child labor. Despite their claims of benefiting humanity, Nike and other large corporations are just doing it. Nike aims to minimize costs and the highest amount of profits for goods they make and sell, thus involving themselves in illegal practices, such as child labor.
The little hamburger bun is shrunken up, but there's no mold, no mildew, no visible signs of rot, age, breakdown, anything.
Let me ask you the question. How do you spot a psycho?
Well, chances are pretty good that many people have worked actually for a psychopath at some point in their career. Certainly not at Bloomberg, of course.
Never.
All right, but we're talking about Gordon Gekko rather than Hannibal Lecter. We're talking about a psychopath with all these attributes, of course, without the killing, hopefully. So according to the book, The Psychopath Test by John Ronson, you are 4 times as likely to find a psychopath in the CEO's suite than you are in the general population. And in fact, 1 in 25 corporate executives could be diagnosed as a psychopath, that's according to the book. Now, that's because the qualities that make a good psychopath, things like lack of remorse or impulsive behavior, also make a good businessman.
Every day I think about Al-Qaeda. Every day I think about protecting this country. I mean, every day, except for Sunday.
Confidential emails from US-based intelligence firm Strategic Focus or Stratfor, which revealed, amongst those emails, it reveals that Dow Chemicals used Stratfor, that this is a highly respected think tank, a private one, which also gives information to governments and to corporates to monitor and analyze the online activities of Bhopal activists. So Stratfor was actually spying on Bhopal activists for Dow Chemicals.
Oh, the Olympics boss Lord Coe has defended the London 2012 sponsorship deal with Dow Chemicals, despite the company's links with one of the world's worst industrial disasters. Up to 15,000 people died when toxic gas leaked from the Union Carbide factory in Bhopal in central India in 1984. Dow Chemicals bought Union Carbide in 2001.
Dow Chemicals, the parent company of the factory that caused the Bhopal disaster. And nearly 30 years after the Union Carbide gas leak that killed thousands and injured many, many more, campaigners say those responsible have still not paid their dues. Even today, babies born with serious disabilities, the land still not cleaned up.
This year alone, 5 unionists have already been killed.
Solo este año ya han sido asesinados 5 dirigentes trabajadores sindicalizados.
That's almost 1 unionist a week that's been killed in this country. And this is happening at a time that, as we heard this morning from the 3 labor confederations, that unions are disappearing in Colombia. The steelworkers has been involved in and continues to be involved in human rights lawsuits against the Drummond Company and Coca-Cola for their alleged complicity with paramilitaries in killing workers here.
Ahí frente a la empresa había un kiosco, que era donde vendían la alimentación y cositas. Ellos como que llegaron ahí y le preguntaron a otro compañero quién era Isidro. Entonces ahí ya en el momento que salía un carro ya para revisarlo, como a ellos les tocaba revisar el carro surtidor, hacer el conteo y todo, abrió la puerta, el carro se parqueó y el carro que arrancó y ellos, antes de cerrar la puerta, se le metieron por el lado de atrás del carro y enseguida le dispararon ahí. Como 9 tiros le hicieron, que fue lo que presentó los toros. Sí, el objeto todo era lo mismo, acabar con el sindicato, acabar con el sindicato.
The Colombian government says this man is the mastermind behind most of the killings. Carlos Castaño leads the United Self-Defense Group of Colombia, an ultra-right-wing paramilitary group. It has around 12,000 armed fighters and is listed by the United States as a terrorist organization. Castaño says most trade unionists are fronts for Colombia's other terrorist groups, the far-left guerrillas, but there's little, if any, evidence of such links.
Coca-Cola didn't have significant ownership of its own bottling plants in Colombia. Coke owns about 1/3 of stock in its Latin American bottling plants, including the ones where union members were either killed, tortured, or illegally detained.
She joined the British military intelligence group MI5 shortly after leaving university in the early 1990s. Annie spent 6 years in MI5 and in 1996 left the organization because of things she had seen there that she just didn't feel were right.
First of all, there was a false flag attack in London in 1994 where a car bomb exploded outside the Israeli embassy in the centre of London. The senior MI5 officer who was in charge of the investigation into it and had seen all the evidence but also all the intelligence, which isn't necessarily admissible in court, wrote his formal assessment at the end of the case, and he said he reckoned that Mossad, the Israeli external intelligence agency, had bombed their own embassy. But crucially, 2 innocent Palestinians were arrested, charged and convicted of conspiracy to cause that attack. And they were very active in a Palestinian support network in London, political campaigning for the people on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And they were gaining some traction in the media, they were getting quite a lot of support. So by arresting these people and framing them for an attack and sticking them in prison, the whole network just shattered and hasn't got back on its feet to this day. So that would be a clear political advantage for Mossad to have achieved in London by framing these innocent people for an attack which was carried out by Mossad.
Coke came to Colombia, seeking lower wages. They got just what they paid for, but as we turned the pages, we find the workers didn't like the sounds of their children's hungry cries. So they said, we'll join the union. They began to organize. So Coke called up a terrorist group called the AUC. They said, we've got some problems at the factory. So his sons went to the plant, killed 2 union men, told the rest, you leave the union or we'll be back.